Do I have any conspiracy theories? What would mine be? I got one. Squid Game. It's real, and we're all a part of it. The Oscars are rigged. Well, we knew that when Dark Knight didn't get a nomination. The lizard people are coming. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. We have a brand new show called Inside Job, and today we're going to talk about it. Just dropped on Netflix this weekend. Every episode only around 20 to 30 minutes long, so not too shabby of a binge. Let's get into it. Inside Job is an adult animated comedy about the shadow government and the dysfunctional team whose daily grind is committing the world's conspiracies, from convoluted cover-ups to secret societies to masked orgy etiquette. Navigating office culture at Cognito Inc. can be tricky, especially for antisocial tech genius Reagan Ridley. But even in a workplace filled with reptilian shapeshifters and psychic mushrooms, she's seen as the odd one out for believing the world could be a better place. Who believes that? Well, Reagan does. She thinks she can make a difference. If only she could manage her unhinged, manifesto-writing father, her irresponsible coworkers, and finally snag the promotion she's been dreaming about. This was really exciting, and I think the one name that was drawing everybody in was Alex Hirsch. If you don't recognize that name, Gravity Falls, a highly popular series that was really of the appropriate time period for me, kind of graduating high school, going into college. So you may say, well, Austin, isn't that a show for... No, not Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls is one of the best animated shows I've ever seen. So seeing Alex Hirsch go from that, being a story consultant on Mitchell's versus the Machines, and then going into this, giving us a part 1 and a part 2. Well, this is only part 1, 10 episodes. And as far as I know, we're getting 10 more, and then that's it. So in a way, it's somewhat of a limited series. And I was thinking to myself, is this show going to feel more episodic? Or is there going to be an underlying story that kind of continues on and warrants that 1-2 part limited series that almost feels like a complete feature? Yeah, there is a story that goes underneath all of the episodes and ties each one back in together, and I really enjoyed that story. And the show was much more creative than even I thought it was going to be going in, seeing the name in Alex Hirsch, because what they're doing here is they're playing on all of the things that go on in real life. And you hear that and you're like, what, do we need more of that? Do we need something that just reminds us of the daily ridiculousness? Well, no, we don't need it. But what the show does is it plays on all of those things and brings it to us in such a satirical way to where even if it comes off as offensive to you or someone else watching, you can't help but to chuckle. And there are things that I was hesitant to chuckle about. I'm like, they're doing an episode based around cloning a bunch of dead celebrities and, political figures. So you have everyone from Elvis Presley to John F. Kennedy, and then they bring about the person who assassinated John F. Kennedy to take out the many clones of John F. Kennedy. If you haven't watched the show, you're thinking to yourself, this sounds ridiculous, but trust me, it's handled in a way that's funny. But that kind of comedy is going to rub some people the wrong way. Well, I'm okay with the show because it's so self-aware. It knows exactly what it's trying to do. It's playing on all of those things, talking specifically about conspiracy theorists, conspiracy theories, things that people say of what goes on in Hollywood and the White House and, politics in general. It's all ridiculousness anyway, to be honest with you. But the fact that we have a show playing on all of the outlandish things that people say, but bringing it to us in a comedic way, that's what intrigued me. And that's what made me sit back and say, okay, if they can do this and do it right, we have something special on our hands. And I will admit, before I get into the really good things, some of the jokes are repetitive, while the underarching story is really great, and I'm liking the way that's playing out. You do have the episode. Each episode has its own theme, and not every episode individually works as well as some others. You have everything, ranging from the president, who's not really the president, going on a complete political tirade, to a society of reptilian people, which played on so many things. I mean, the witty banter is one thing, right? But then you have the wittiness of the actual script, and when you have those things, and talking about these secret societies and what the government actually does and all the things that they're secretly working on, down to someone who's actually controlling the weather and just, things that we've heard. I think back to Parks and Rec, and you had that guy who was in the park saying, "Today's the day, it's Armageddon. Can we reserve the park or we can switch it to next week?" That's what it reminds me of. And some people are going to see that and they're going to be like, well, we don't need more of that. But again, the show just knows exactly what it's doing, and even when it does essentially come off as offensive, it's doing it in a creative and humorous way. And I wasn't on board with all of it, right? I wasn't consistently laughing like they wanted me to, but the characters are so quirky and wacky, and should I do it? I guess I'm going to do it. Just briefly, you could compare it to a show like Rick and Morty. I feel like every time we get an adult show, people are comparing that show to Rick and Morty, and frankly, that's gotten under my skin. And here I am doing it in a review, but the adventures are so wacky and crazy and outlandish, I couldn't think to feel that upbeat nature that Rick and Morty has. Okay, you know what? Even more so, solar opposites. This feels more so like that because you're dealing with more on the alien side of things. And they make this comparison, and it's the perfect comparison. It's this secret society controlling the world that we live in, almost like a Men in Black. They even make a couple of Men in Black references. So you have creatures, you have individuals, you have all of this stuff going on. And then the one guy that comes in that is essentially in the first episode about to take over Reagan's role, the role that she's worked so hard to have, and he's essentially coming off the street, learning about all of this craziness. Then you meet the team, you realize who this team is and who each voice is within the cast. And the voice cast here, from Christian Slater to Lizzie Kaplan to Clark Duke to John DiMaggio, it's like your standard awesome television voice cast, even some people like DiMaggio carrying over from other series. It's just a great voice cast. And the writing, that wittiness that you need in a series like this, I should have put my full faith into Alex Hirsch because he delivers on that oh so well. You also have to mention the art style and animation, which isn't anything we haven't seen before, but it works appropriately for the kind of show that it is. I just had an entertaining time while watching Inside Job. For the most part, the jokes work, the humor works, the callbacks and references to both politics and Hollywood, and even beyond that, people that we know and see in everyday life. It's that kind of show. It's very adult, though, so kids, if you're watching this, don't watch that. But keep watching this, but don't watch that. Unless you want to, but don't do it. Before I give you guys my score, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and want to drop your thumbs up, that would help this channel. And we're on the road to 100K, so if you'd like to subscribe, that would be awesome. Inside Job is witty and self-aware, but this crew of oddball characters will be more than enough to keep viewers laughing. That's what it's all about. I'm going to 78% for Inside Job. I just thought this show accomplished everything it tried to do. A little overboard at times, but you have to trust the likes of this crew and this cast. So I need to know what you guys thought. Stay tuned. Plenty of videos coming this weekend. Last Night in Soho review coming on Monday. Maybe some more Netflix reviews. What are you watching on streaming this weekend?